Hello there, back in the garden today again for today's United Kingdom talk. Welcome along, my name's Chris Reardon. A little article that caught my eye in the paper last week. Don't expect help, darling, the age of chivalry is dead. Now this appeared in last week's, or was it the week before? The week before in the Daily Mail. And it went on to say, there are little acts of kindness that were the marks of a true gentleman, but it seems women can now expect to carry their own heavy bags and brave cold weather without the offer of a jacket. And it says here that couples are now seen with women carrying the heavy bags and men walking around at their own pace. Now, I have to say, I always thought I was quite chivalrous. Is that a word, chivalrous? I don't know. I would hold doors open for people, move out the way for ladies, old or young, whatever, and do various other things for them. But more recently, in the last 10 years, the thanks has stopped. Now, come on, boys, I want you to tell me this. Have you ever held a door open for a woman, old or young? No, that's wrong. The elderly ladies, thank you. They acknowledge you. I'm not asking anyone to suddenly fall down on their knees and praise me for holding a door open, but I would like some sort of acknowledgement. How many times, chaps, have you now held the door open for a young lady, only to have them swish through and completely ignore the fact that you have just held the door open for them? Has anyone got up on a bus to allow a younger lady to sit down, only to have them sit down and pick up the paper and start reading it and not even acknowledge you did it? And that is why this has happened, I believe. You know, ladies, if only you'd have acknowledged the fact that now and again something nice was being done for you, not under the premise that someone actually fancies you, they just held the door open or moved a trolley out of the way in the supermarket so that you could get past. Not to have you swish through with your kids or whatever and say nothing, but we would like a bit of an acknowledgement. So perhaps that's why that's why I believe this has happened. It goes on here, the study found that almost a third of women, by the way, I'm sorry about that noise, there's someone, as we were out in the garden, the councillor cutting some of the grass in the communal area next to me. It says, a study found almost a third of women have asked their partner to be more gentlemanly and a quarter have broken up with a discourteous man. The top chivalrous act, here we go, was holding a door open for a woman, followed by carrying heavy bags and offering a jacket in cold weather. Well, you know, would you just tell me, why should we hold the doors open for you lot? Right, if you're not even going to say thank you. I continue to hold the doors open for older ladies. And when I say older, I mean above 50, because they tend to appreciate it. But the worst ones are ladies with children. And it's no use coming back to me now and say, oh yeah, we've got to worry about the children and all that. We've got so much on our mind. It costs nothing to say thank you. Or even, you don't even have to open your mouth. Just a little nod, something like that, to acknowledge the fact that someone has done you a kindness. This is your own fault. This is absolutely your own fault for swishing through doors and things like that. Any experiences like that at all, I'd like you to tell me. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I have stopped holding the doors open for young women because I'm sick to death of it. I'm sick to death of being treated like a piece of dirt, because that's how it feels. Don't think it's just a case of not saying thank you. We don't ask for a thank you. We ask for an acknowledgement that we have done something nice. Don't expect it anymore, because you're not going to get it from me if you're under 50. I'm sorry, that's how it. No, I think that's wrong. Under 40. It's the ones under 40. No mention. It's almost as if you think you have a right to have doors opened, and it's not like that. It's not. It's an act of kindness. It really is. Now, I'm sitting here. Do you know, there's dust. Where's all this dust coming from in the air? And I could smell that. Oh, dear. I mean, you know, the council I live in, Bracknell Forest Council, they're supposed to be very green and all that. And yet they're outside mowing the grass with a petrol-driven grass cutting machine. And I can smell it from here, dear. Fumes. I'm choking away. Any examples of that? Acts of chivalry? Are you one of the ladies that doesn't bother acknowledging the men anymore when they hold the door open? Have you noticed that men are no longer holding the doors open for you? I wonder why that is. Is it because you didn't acknowledge them? It's your own faults. Let us know your thoughts on that, okay? My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I am actually a nice person, I promise you. Eh? I am. So that's that. Just something I caught in the Daily Mail yesterday. It also said there, traditionally, men were the ones who held the doors open for their partner, paid the bill on a date, and were even supposed to walk on the side of the pavement, which is closest to the road. Do you remember that one? I remember Dad telling me that. I think it was Dad. If I was out with Mum and Dad and my sister, he told me to walk on the side of the road nearest to the road, so that if anything was splashed, we'd take the splash and not the girls. But I mean, you see how some of these ladies act up in pubs. I mean, I was at Belushi's last night in Borough. A wonderful place to work. Fantastic. You couldn't wish for a better job. It's fantastic. It's lively. It's boisterous. And you expect the lads to be a little bit drunk up sometimes, you know, and all over the place. You don't expect that with the girls. But there was a girl in there last night. I don't know what she was on, dear. She was drunk as a skunk. And she was getting all her bits out everywhere, showing them to me like I was remotely interested, dear. I mean, send your boyfriend over and I might be interested, you know. But she had all her bits out, gyrating away. And, of course, the lads were lapping it up, weren't they? They were lapping it up. You know, drinking, swearing. And I thought, is this a real lady? Is it an age thing? Is it because I'm old now? Is that what it is? I don't know. I don't know. Right. I work at a place on Fridays now called West 5 in Chiswick. And they have this piano bar thing. And there was a bloke in there, I can't remember his name now, we had him down there last Friday. There's my area where oh, well done, Kat. She's just knocked over the clock. Do you mind? Oh, she just walks off, dear. You know, Kat does that as well. When I hold the door open for her, she doesn't say thank you. How rude is that? You can't knock the clock over, dear, because I can't see what the time is, dear. 1 minute, there we are. Anyway, they have the DJ area, which is my kind of area where people dance and what have you. And they also have a piano bar. And it was almost like karaoke, but with a piano. And in this little room, it's not that big, in this little room is a bloke, and they have a few people on rotation doing it, playing a piano, and you can go in there, and he's got a list, like a book of songs, and you look through the songs, and you say, I'd like to sing this one, and he plays it on the piano, and the person sings the song. Anyway, so this bloke, I wish I'd found out his name now, he was particularly good. I mean, the other guy's all right, you know, there's nothing wrong with him, but this bloke was oh, the cat again. Come on then, come up here and stop getting yourself into trouble. Come on. You keep walking around here. Come on, up you come. There we are. There you are. You better up there now? Go on, settle down so I can have my chat with my people. Eh? There we are. Cat's on my lap now. This bloke was particularly good. He had like a drum machine and the piano and a couple of microphones, and when people weren't singing, he was doing some singing as well, and he was really good, and he doesn't even charge that much. It's only about 150 quid for a whole night's entertainment, which I thought was really good. Very good. Anyway, I found out towards the end of the night that he is actually one of the keyboard players in the Hollies, and he travels all over the country doing this, and you could see, I think, like me, he is totally and utterly dedicated to that job. He seemed to be having a fantastic time. And what a voice. What a voice. You know, so very, very interesting that. And it got me to thinking about different ways of doing karaoke. As you know, the way I do it, I set up my laptop and I have various backing tracks that I use. I use an online karaoke system, which I've signed up to, and I play the backing tracks and people come out and see them. But there are other ways. There are other types of karaoke that you can now hire. Although be a little bit more expensive. There is a thing called karaoke, R-O-C-K A-O-K-E, karaoke. Have a look on the internet, just type in karaoke, and with that you basically hire a band, you know, a 3 or 4 piece band. I suppose there's all different sizes. One would imagine, if you had the money, and I'd love to do this, I would love to host a karaoke night in a big hall or something like that with a full orchestra. And you'd have these bits of paper, you'd have these books sitting on people's tables, perhaps with perhaps a meal or something like that, and drinks flowing all night long. And there on the stage would be a full concert orchestra, and people could come up and sing with that orchestra. That would be horrendously expensive. I wonder if anyone's done that. I really wonder if anyone's done it. I think that would be fantastic. A karaoke night with a full orchestra. I would love to host something like that. I'd be the one coming on in between the people, you know, and I wouldn't be able to turn up like I am dressed today, you know, hooded Lonsdale top and a pair of jeans. I'd have to get a suit for that one, wouldn't I? But how great would that be to make so many people happy singing with an orchestra, and they'd never have a chance before. All that. Will you put your clothes? Oh, she's gone now. Oh, you're up to mischief today. The cat's up to mischief today. She really is. She wouldn't put her claws in, so I had to eject her from my lap, I'm afraid. They were digging into my poor knee. So that would be nice. But as I say, very, very expensive. Could you make it pay? Do you know, I don't know. If you could get the amount of people there, then I suppose you would. But you see, you know, the more people that... The trouble is, the more people that come to karaoke events, the less you get to sing. On the other side of the coin, you don't want to go to a karaoke night where there are very few people. So it's a bit of a no-win situation, really. So if you had one of these do's and loads of people turn up, all paying X number of pounds, because the orchestra would have to be paid, and it must cost an arm and a leg to hire an orchestra. But what a wonderful night that would be, eh? Could you make it pay? I don't know. Is it about making money to me? No, of course it's not. But you would need it to. You need to make it pay for itself, wouldn't you? Plus some wages for the people who are working, I suppose, the people serving the drinks and all this, that and the other. But what a wonderful night that would be. So that's at one end of the scale. As I say, I don't know if it's been done before. At the other end of the scale, you can get, as I say, karaoke, where 2, 3 or 4 people turn up with their instruments, and they set up in a pub or perhaps a small stage somewhere. And again, they have these books of songs, and you look for the song, you want to see what you want to sing, you go up and say, hello, I'd like to sing this, and the band play along with you. Let's be honest with this, you know, that's so much better than, I think, someone perhaps like me and turning up with my equipment and just pushing buttons. How wonderful is it to see a band or to be actually able to play along with a band? Eh? Sorry, I'm just looking at something to my right there. That would be great. And I guess there's various sizes of these karaoke. You could have perhaps a piano player and a bass guitarist, or a piano player, bass guitarist and a drummer. You know, and the list is endless, isn't it? You can have as many or as few people as you want, and I would assume that the more people that you have, the more people within the band, the more expensive it becomes. But I have to say, if I was to ever have another birthday party, which I might, I don't know, I might have a 50th, I don't know, in just 3 years' time I'll be 50. Can you believe that? I'd quite like that. And I would Do you know, it's funny, I should start talking about it. Now I've got all these ideas running through my mind. What I would have is a karaoke band. I would absolutely do it like that. And I would invite all the people that come around with to my karaoke nights. I think I would host it. Because even on my birthday, I don't drink. I don't like to drink. I don't like it. I don't like the taste of lager or wine or anything like that, I'm afraid. I think I would host it as well. We'd hire out a fairly big room, nice little band on the stage. I'm getting ideas here, aren't I? I'm getting ideas here. Love to do it. Love to. So there we are. Just thought I'd mention that. The wonderful piano player, and he plays in the Hollies that we have at West 5 in Ealing on Friday nights. If you ever want to come down there, it'd be nice to see you. I'm a bit difficult to get to there because I'm kind of in a box, but you can get to me. You have to stand on a seat, which... Oh, I dropped my pen. You have to stand on a seat, which they allow you to do, and kind of reach over into the DJ box, say, hello, Chris, and that's great. Anyway, the piano karaoke type thing, or it's known as a piano bar, is at West 5, which is in Ealing every Friday night from 9 o'clock. All right, I don't know when the guy from the Hollies is back there again. So that's that. Let's see. Talking of karaoke, some of the things I've done over the years, bingo, which was my version of bingo. I don't do that anymore. Since I stopped doing it, there has been a couple of inquiries from people to ask if I'd be interested doing it again. And to be honest, it was damn hard work. It was really hard work doing that. And so I've answered no on both occasions. I've done DJing, and I still do DJing, and I do karaoke. I've done quiz nights as well. I don't do a quiz night at the moment. But I was kind of wondering, what else would bring you into a pub? Are you someone that never goes into pubs? Is there something that I could do that would bring you into a pub? I'm kind of looking around for new ideas at the moment. I want to try some new things. I think I already mentioned on a previous show the rock bingo that you actually buy the pack. Basically, on your bingo card, you have the titles and artists of various different tracks or records, right? And then when you start playing the bingo, you literally play bits of music, and if you've got that music written on your card, you cross it off. And then you play similar to a bingo for a line or a full house or something like that. So that's something I'm looking at the moment. Is there anything else that you think would bring you into a pub? Anything? Anything at all? I've no idea. I also looked at kind of a wee fit night, but I'm not quite sure how one would control that. I really need to go and find where one is and see it. The trouble is, I only have Tuesday nights off at the moment, which may be filled soon as well. I've had an inquiry from a pub in Stoke Newington, which is in the kind of northeast, east sort of area of, I think it's north or northeast area of London, to do a karaoke on Tuesday night. So I'm going to go down there in a couple of weeks when I've come back from my sister's to see what that's like. I've already looked the place up on the internet. It looks a fun place. It looks similar to Belushi's, and if it's similar to that, then I'm interested. You know, so another possible karaoke night on the cards. But what else? What would bring you into a pub? Or perhaps you are a pub goer and you go in the pubs, oh, nothing on again tonight, nothing. What would you like us to put on in a pub? Give me some ideas. I'd love to know your ideas. Anything at all. Even if you think it's stupid, it might well be a goer. I'm always looking at new things to try. It's part of my problem, really. To be honest, I'm surprised I've kept this chat show going for nearly 5 years now. I get bored. I'm always looking. James Dean said this. I'm always looking for the next thing. And I'm looking now. I'm not bored doing the karaoke or the DJing. I'm just looking for something else. What would bring you into a pub? If the karaoke doesn't, or the bingo, or the DJing, or the loud music, what would bring you into a pub? It could be something really strange like classical music. Are there any pubs, I wonder, that have played classical music before? Interesting, isn't it? Bit of a niche one, that one. I don't suppose there would be many people who would want to go. But then again, I could be wrong. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. What would bring you into a pub? Let us know on the email, okay? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Anything at all? We got pubs that do, plenty of pubs that do sports nights. They show the football on the television. No, it's got to be a bit more interactive though. Something that needs a host like me to do it. It won't run on its own. It needs someone running it. That's what I'm looking for, something else to do. I want something else to get my teeth into. Let me know. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is my email address. All right. One of the things I meant to bring up, now I spoke about this way back last year. You know my Toyota Aygo, which I've now done 112,000 miles on this wonderful piece of Toyota engineering. I know that Toyota have had a bit of a problem recently with cars shooting forward and a really bad press. But I have a feeling it was not much, it was no worse a problem than any of the other manufacturers get. It's just that the newspapers and what have you tended to jump on them suddenly. And you know what newspapers are like. Once that happens, that's it. You know, they all get involved, and you, as a company, you are crucified, absolutely crucified. Well, one thing I've noticed with my Toyota, bulbs were blowing quite often. Now, I wasn't over concerned with this because most of my driving is at night, and I drive at night every night of the week for a good 2 or 3 hours. So I wasn't over surprised that the bulbs, they'd last a few months, maybe 6, 9 months, maybe 12 months, and then they'd blow, especially the headlight ones. It's the headlight ones that would go. Last year, around about January last year, I started changing my bulbs for Bosch ones rather than using the Toyota ones. And let me tell you, none of them have blown since. So there's a little lesson there. Spend a little bit more money. Don't buy the... I personally wouldn't buy the shop own brand bulbs, although I haven't tried them. But in my experience, when you've bought an own brand of something, it doesn't seem to last as well as a name, such as Bosch. Okay, I started replacing my Bosch bulbs the bulbs. Certainly, both headlights are now Bosch bulbs, and you know the little side lights as well. They're now Bosch bulbs. None of them have blown since. So they do last a lot longer. Yes, they are a couple of quid more, but I think worth every penny. So I just wanted to share that with you. Have you got any experience of using cheap bulbs and then using expensive ones? I have a light fitting as well. I have a DJ light fitting, like a projector. And again, I bought one of the bulbs, went on it, and I found these cheap bulbs on the internet. Pro Sound they were called. I think they were Pro Sound or Pro Light, something like that. And I replaced one of the bulbs, and the projector started working, and it was all well and good. And then after 5 minutes, smoke started pouring out the top of it, and bong, off it went. I thought, oh my word. Anyway, so I unplugged it and took the top off, and the bulb had literally exploded inside the unit. Not only had it exploded, it took the lens with it as well, and that smashed to pieces. So there's a lesson there. And I rung up the people, the actual manufacturers of the actual light unit. And they said, no. He said, what bulbs did you use? So I told him. He said, no, never ever use any other bulbs. He said, use Ostrom. He said, buy your Ostrom. He said, they will stop working after a while, like all the others, but they will never explode. So that's what I did. And of course, that cost me more money because I had to buy the lens as well as some more bulbs. Anyway, I put a new lens in, put the new bulb in, and here we are 6 weeks later, and it's still working fine. So there's a lesson there. Never buy cheap bulbs. You can have a terrible time accident with them. You know, when they explode, the glass goes everywhere. This is why they say when you're using those high-powered bulbs, like in stage or DJ applications, anything like that, you must always put the light unit back together again. Never have a naked bulb, because when they explode, the idea is that the actual light unit will catch the bulb, you see. All right? So any ideas, once again, tell me about, have you got any experience with buying perhaps cheap parts for your car, only to have to buy the same part again later on because it wasn't as good as the original, or a named brand. Maybe you bought a cheap copy brand or something like that, and you were disappointed. Maybe you've had a really bad accident, or just avoided a bad accident because you tried to save money. Did you? I want to hear about it. Let me know on the email what happened. All right, my email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Okay, boys and girls, a couple of emails coming in there from Joe Morris, our dear friend Joe Morris, who I don't hear from often enough now. Joe, who writes, "Hello, my friend. Just watched your first show from the garden," which was, of course, last week. We're back in the garden again today, incidentally, Joe, just in case you hadn't noticed. My winter pansies have come out beautifully. I've got purple and yellow winter pansies there. Strangely enough, not all of them. I've got another couple of hanging baskets with these in, and they haven't. It's only these two hanging baskets that have done really well for some reason. Isn't that funny? And they're the same flowers. Maybe it's something to do with the soil, I don't know. But they really are beautiful hanging next to me there. Joe says, just wanted you to know I still listen, always love the show. Thanks for making us part of your world. Have you found Robert from Iceland yet? Perhaps Robert is the chavvy bloke. All my best, and that's from Joe, Eastern Tennessee, USA. No, I don't know what's happened to Robert in Iceland. We put out a couple of calls last week, but nothing, and I'm a little bit concerned, really. I thought my email system will have saved his email when he sent in emails, and I was going to send him a little note to find out what's going on there, but no, I'm afraid not. Haven't bumped into him at all, so don't know what happened. I do hope he is all right, though. You know, it's a concern. I do get concerned when people write as regularly as Robert does. And I think it's only... Well, I think Robert was possibly the person who wrote to this show more than anyone else ever did. And he suddenly disappeared, so I do hope he's all right. Let me see here. Here's a record that's come in, an email from Current TV, and it's from Drizake. Hello, Drizake. That's his username. Hi, Chris. Who are you voting for, he says. Well, I can't be saying that, my darlings. It's top secret, but they might be wearing blue. Okay, there's a clue. They might... The people I'm voting for might be wearing blue. All right, there we are. Finally today... I have got another email here from Ashley. I'm going to hold that over to the next show, okay, Ashley? Hope that's all right with you, who we heard from on the last show. Finally today, I noticed, you know, all this business that we all eat fruit and veg. They've been driving it into our brains here in the UK over the last couple of years that we must eat 5 portions of fruit and veg a day. Now, this article... came out all over the newspapers a couple of weeks ago now, and it says eating more fruit and veg only has a modest effect on protecting against cancer. And we've been stuffing, I certainly have, I've been stuffing fruit and veg into my face now for a couple of years. I really changed my diet because I believed that this was good. And in a way, of course, it still is. You know, the more fruit and veg you have, you've got more fibre going through, takes out all the fat and all that business. It's got to be good for your heart and your general well-being. I've got to admit, I feel a lot better now since I stopped eating so many chips and other bits and pieces. But a study of 500,000 Europeans joins a growing body of evidence, this was on the BBC news site, undermining the high hopes that pushing 5 a day might slash Western cancer rates. The international team of researchers estimates only 2.5% of cancers could be averted by increasing intake. So it's not as good as it was. However, 2.5% is better than nothing, I suppose, isn't it? Don't you reckon? That's it for the show today. Thanks very much for joining me. Don't forget the email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Thanks for watching and listening. See you on the next show. Bye-bye now.